hello. How amazing were Alicia and Sebastian? They were fantastic. And like the knowledge bombs they dropped on us were incredible, yeah?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So hello, everyone. We are here to just really quick, I want to let you know what we're going to talk about. Then I'll introduce us, tell you all about our fun things about ourselves. We're here to talk to you today about direct sales and running your business on direct sales while using live, because it is kind of a tricky subject to navigate, especially because of the way that direct sales was designed before the internet even came about. Squid Army is here. Hi, Melinda. Hello, Brad. So we're going to be giving you some ideas, some tips, some tricks, and our thoughts on how Live and BeLive have changed the direct sales industry. But first, I want to introduce my co-hosts. I am here with Michelle Bradley. She's all the way on the right. Michelle Bradley is a truth spitter and a confidence creator. She loves Drake, straight shooters, and an adorable little rescue dog named Keeper. If you see her on Instagram or on Facebook, you'll find tons and tons of pictures of that adorable little dog. I'm also joined today by Jenna Green, who is a social media marketing manager. She's an affiliate marketing expert, and she is an outspoken activist. She loves all things unicorn. In fact, Jenna, where's your unicorn hat? Weren't you going to wear a unicorn hat? Okay, there it is.
I won't bring the hat, but I do have my little friend here.
Ah, there it is. There's a little friend. Okay, I'm missing the hat, but your friend is adorable. I left my squid hat upstairs. So
I was hoping you would have a squid hat, so I didn't want to overstep.
With too many hats. I understand. Yeah. And then you have me. I am Minessa Konecky. I am a transformation coach, and recently we've kind of been workshopping the title digital anthropologist, which I'm a huge fan of. So I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the term digital anthropologist, because it sounds very cool to me, though I'm not entirely sure what it means. I love helping other people make money the right way, which is the way that doesn't allow your business to take over your entire life, where you take control of your business and using technology and social media, which is why we are here today. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to start by asking our panelists some questions. I'm going to chime in with some answers, but I really want to hear what Michelle and Jenna have to say about some of these topics. The first questions I want to throw out there is because, how many direct sellers do we have on here right now? How many of you are MLM, direct sales, or run your own product-based business? I would love to hear about that. Michelle, Jenna, when you think about social media, it's fairly recent in terms of, the entire landscape of the internet. We're looking at the last 4 or 5 years that it's become a major social selling, has become a thing. How do you feel like social selling or social media, Facebook, Instagram, has changed direct sales?
I'm going to let Jenna take this one first, because there's a very obvious reasoning that I did that. So Jenna, you go first on this one.
I never get to go first, so this is very
I know.
And I think I need to sit up a little straighter so my name isn't blocking my face. LiveCon, yes, guys, LiveCon. There's some super awesome prizes to win here too. I don't know if you've all been following along today, but it's been amazing. So the way that lives have changed direct sales it's kind of mind-blowing, actually. Especially for someone like me, because direct sales started out, remember like back in the day, Tupperware parties, and your mom would like have the local Mary Kay lady, and they'd all come to your house, or you'd have a party in someone's living room, and you'd go and you'd have snacks, and it would be community and fun and selling. Well, live sales or live streaming has actually allowed us to have that type of an atmosphere and connect with our customers on that level without having to be in their living room. Like, I'm with you guys. These are my friends on my phone. We run a podcast that's called that. And I'm with you guys, even though we're not in the same room. But it's a similar experience because of live streaming. So it's opened the opportunity up to people who don't have, maybe they don't have like the physical capabilities of going out of their house a lot. That would be me. Physically, that's just too much for me. Maybe they don't live in an area that's like very populated. It allows you to connect with people all over the country and all over the world in ways that were just simply not possible before.
And that's exactly what I was hoping she would say. I think that social media specifically has opened up a whole new world, not just for direct sales, but but for business across the board. I think that those that were limited in their abilities to be able to create something of their very own, now that's gone because you have social media. Of course, we've had the internet for a while, but now with social media, we have that communication tool that allows us to approach it in a whole different manner, which of course now we are also, it's about being part of an exclusive group as well. You get the support that so many direct sellers may not have had in the past because they maybe were assigned to somebody not close to them. They didn't get to choose their upline. And now with social media and the internet, now we have this whole new world where even if we don't have a supportive support system at home or with our upline, we can find that on our own through groups, through social media, through different avenues that it is provided for us.
So true. It has opened up so many opportunities. But I think, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, I had a whole different set of questions planned, but as you were talking, and we know these kinds of things happen every time we record our podcast, it totally goes in this direction. I was thinking to myself that with this new technology, like now you have BeLive, which gives you a whole production studio sort of at your fingertips when you're going live. There's also a tendency, I think, among business owners to use live in a way that it may not necessarily have been intended. So let me give you an example that a lot of direct sellers, and this is a mistake I've seen made, quite frequently, is a lot of direct sellers will use live as if it is a mechanism to sell constantly to their audience, as if it's a new way to constantly be selling. So you have these tendencies to go live and sell for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time, or do multiple lives in a week for selling. How do you feel like that hurts a business owner? Like if you're using live exclusively to sell, what kind of impact do you feel like that has on a business owner's growth, popularity, that kind of thing?
Well, we know that their family and friends have unfollowed them. We know that for a fact.
What is that?
Right. And overall, it gives the term direct sales a bad connotation, right? That we see jokes all the time. And of course, all of us have started in direct sales. And even as we have filtered out and gone our own way, that is what led us, right? That is what encouraged us. That's what showed us what we were capable of. And so it's interesting because we have all seen a meme. We have all seen a blog post. We have all seen people posting about stop spamming me. I haven't talked to you since high school. No, I don't need weight loss, but thanks for that encouraging word, right? Like we have all received these messages. We have all come across these shared lives. We have all, right? It's constantly in your face, which actually is what is encouraging, on top of politics, of course, what is encouraging Facebook and also other social media platforms to tighten what is allowed. It is what's constantly changing the algorithm. It's constantly what's causing us to make all these changes. And yet the same people who are complaining about the constant changes are the ones who are spamming their family and friends with buy this thing that you absolutely need in your life. And so I think what happens is we get a negative name. Direct selling gets a negative connotation from the public who has had no interaction with them. Because they're reading all this stuff, there is negativity coming from the people that are being spammed. And then there's negativity being coming from the direct seller themselves because whatever they're doing is not working and they can't figure out why. Exactly. So there's negativity surrounding it when we have the ability, if we do a little research, if we start listening to what we know to be right instead of what's being told to us, that we can go do some research and find ways, just like BeLive. And, what we all teach, the way we teach selling, relationship-based selling, to do so much better and to find that success that we're looking for.
Exactly. We were just having this discussion in the Social Strategy Squad, which is our premium small coaching group run by Direct to Success, where we all moderate. And we were talking about, having a weekly schedule where you can go live and the benefits to doing that, but also the benefits to selling less to sell more, because the more you can connect with your audience, the more that they know who you are authentically and they like you, the more they're going to shop with you, because that's really what people come to social media for. They don't come to be sold to. You're not coming on to Facebook to be sold to. You're coming to laugh at some funny memes. You're coming to connect with your family and friends, maybe get some information, but you're coming for that community. And so you have to use live and incorporate that into the way that you sell and the way that you build your business, so that you're using it as an opportunity to continue to build your community. We were talking about some people do trivia nights. They go live and show, the crafts they're making with their kids. They go live and do a demonstration on how to wear a new product that they have. Sure, but they also Minessa did a great live one time. She interviewed her dad, which was one of our best lives in the social strategy squad ever, I think.
It was a really good live.
It really was. It was a great one. And, BeLive allows you to do that even if you're not in the same room. So it works out really well that you can connect with people on that level, like you're in their living room, like you're their neighbor, like you're visiting and hanging out with them, but you don't have to leave your house. And you can still totally be wearing your sweatpants and no one will know, unless you admit it on BeLive right now.
Oh, well, you always got to admit that, because the fact of the matter is we work from home so we can wear sweatpants. So, what you were saying earlier about like building relationships first, and Alexi made a really good point. He said live shopping is such a great trend nowadays, and it really is, because it's brought, BeLive has, and live video has brought this home shopping network idea, and it's taken it to a whole nother level where now, the person who has insomnia at 3 a.m. is able to have somebody to talk to and feel less alone. But to go back to your point of what we talked about in the squad earlier, was that, when most direct sellers think of their business, right, they think of, I need to sell to make money, but that's really sort of where it sort of ends. I need to sell to make money, and I need to go live to sell. But when you think about how the algorithm works, and how Facebook works, and even how what I like to call the second algorithm, which is our psychology, right? The human brain is the hidden second algorithm, and it's really the one that's more important. If you can actually hack the human brain and understand how we interact with people and what it is that what we find important, then the Facebook algorithm actually becomes completely moot. It's not really a very relevant point in your life. And so when you're thinking about selling to go live, what you really want to be thinking about is, how am I going to build community first? So one of the suggestions that we've had, which I'll share with you now, is pick a day of the week where you're going to go live regularly, right? So let's say Thursday at 4. You go live Thursday at 4 regularly, when your audience can now expect you to be there. You can use that 4:00 p.m. live to remind them of your sale live that's coming on Tuesday. Use it to hype up. And as so many of our speakers mentioned earlier, making sure that you promote and plan, and I know Michelle's going to jump in any second here because she's a big fan of planning. Planning your lives is probably the most important thing you can do. You're going to feel so much more confident. You're going to feel like you're going to actually be able to sell something. You'll feel more interesting because you'll have things planned out. Michelle, I'd love to hear from you. Like, how important do you think planning is for doing lives?
Well,
I know exactly what I'm saying.
Well, of course, I think planning is critical across the board with everything. And this is why, because when I was in direct sales and I had, a huge mammoth team, and I still had to sell, and I had to do all of the things, all of these income producing activities, what time did that leave for my family and friends? None. And then you hit burnout, right? And then your job progressively gets harder and harder and harder, because essentially when you are selling, the first people you hit is your warm market. That's natural, whether it's direct sales or not, but direct sales specifically for their fast starts hit that area. So your warm market gets burnt out quickly, and then you're struggling and everything gets harder. So, if that is a way to do it, you can do it like that. No one is saying you can't do it like that. No one's saying you can't sell. No one's saying you can't spam your friends. I'm saying we teach, if you want a business with longevity, you need to look towards a relationship building strategy. And in order to have a strategy, you have to plan. And that is making sure that you are hyping up what's coming. You're hyping up your releases, whether you're selling a product or a service, you're hyping that up. You're giving them bits and pieces. You're becoming the expert. You are starting with a question at the beginning of the week or whatever your marketing strategy starts. You're starting with personal stories. You're starting with questions. You're getting people committed. Then you're giving them tips and you're sharing hacks. And then you're building it up. You then start sharing that you're going live and you're hyping it up and you're giving tips on what you may be covering. And you are asking what they're looking for. You're getting their input. You're making them part of the process. And then when your live is ready, they're amped up for it. They're ready for it. They're going to be there in order to engage because you have worked an entire arc in your favor, getting them amped up, getting them ready. And then once you're able to be done, you can then go back and measure what worked and what didn't. And so it becomes more efficient as you go on and get better at it. Because if you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, like we like to say, you have no idea what's working, why it's working, what's not working, and you're constantly scrambling and you're missing out on quality time, in which many people are doing this specifically for that. We're doing this for the flexibility, for the time in order to spend with our family and friends, in order to live the life that we want to live, but yet you are spending 90 hours a week just trying to sell and figure out what's working, what's not, but you're not giving yourself any of the tools to measure that success.
Well said. Well said. So I have a question for you. Do you think it's possible to grow a business, let's say quickly? Do you think it's possible to, and relatively quickly, because we all know that growing a business takes time, but relatively quicker, do you think it's possible to do that without live? Like, where do you feel like live fits in?
I think that for me, I'm funny. All right. I'm funny.
It's true. You are hysterical right now.
Funny, but I don't write funny. And that was a revelation I had a couple of years ago. And I'm like, I totally do not write funny because I'm so efficient with my words. I tend to be blunt, short, to the point, and there's not a whole lot of time. I wouldn't call humor fluff, but I do not write funny. So for me, going live allows me to let people into my personality and allows them to see that I'm actually funny. Dang it.
I'm telling them you're funny.
I'm really funny. By the end of this live, everybody's going to know how funny I am. I think it allows you, because listen, written word's hard. We all know it. How many times have you written a message or an email and deleted it 472 times? How many times how you now write with emojis so people can pick up your inflection and your meaning of what you're trying to say? Because I read it and I'm like, wow, that sounds rude. I better put a smiley face, right? So you are constantly trying to put emotion into your written word. Well, you don't have to do that now with video. Right? You can do that. You can let people in. You can share video anywhere. Of course, we're talking specifically about social media platforms here, but we can put it into emails. You can put it on your website. Video is the way to let people know the real you, and you're not locked into it, right? It's very hard for someone to pinpoint a point in a video where you were offensive, or if you swore and they didn't necessarily like it. But you can bet if you send out a post and you drop a curse word, it's so in their face and just blaring, right? So if you're trying to really be the authentic you, it's intimidating for a lot of people to put that into written word instead of just being themselves, because it's coming out naturally. Yeah, naturally, it's in context. They understand why you said it. They feel the passion. They hear your excitement. And so 100% they're picking up on that. It's so much easier. My Siri obviously felt that she heard me say her name. I didn't.
Hi,
my
EJ.
phone's like, hey.
New Zealand. Sorry, we have EJ saying hello from New Zealand. I want to say hi to him. Hello. Hi, EJ.
Hi, friends. I love that you're all here.
I know. I'm loving it. Alicia says it is so funny and so true. Jenna, how do you feel about... Sorry, go ahead.
How do I feel about if you can...
live. Do you feel like it's possible to grow your business without going live? Or do you feel like, for you, how do you feel about it?
It's definitely possible, but I think you're going to make it a lot harder on yourself. I think you're going to have to work a lot harder. You're going to have to create a lot more content because you're going to have to create more written content. You can create video content that's not live. We know that Facebook prioritizes video content. Minessa talks about Facebook strategies and the algorithm very frequently. We know that Facebook prioritizes video content, so you're going to have to spend some time creating video content instead of going live, which, you know, sometimes, especially if you're not tech savvy like I am not, it's a lot easier for me to use BeLive and go live and just, you know, talk to my friends here than it is for me to put together a fancy looking, you know, 3-minute video or whatnot. And I definitely don't think I come across as funny. Plus, I'm totally overthinking it. And I'm also I think I'm hilarious, but I don't know about everyone else, but like, I think I'm hilarious. You know, I mean, at least if I go live, I can show you my unicorns and stuff, but that's better than the emojis. But, you know, you really want to, you're going to have to work a lot harder to build that connection and show your authentic self. You definitely don't need to go live every day or for hours at a time. I think my biggest mistake when I first started using social selling and going live was that I would go live and I would do it at a time that I knew was best for my audience, but it wasn't great for me. And so I felt a lot of pressure. I was exhausted. I wasn't really excited to be doing it. And I felt like I had to be like a very formal version of me, like corporate Jenna, you know, because I worked in corporate America for over a decade in corporate marketing and an advertising agency in a very professional corporate environment. And, you know, I was felt like I was having to prove myself and my professionalism. And this was like pre-pink hair and do whatever I want, Jenna. But, you know, this is quite a while back, right when, you know, Facebook Live first started. But I think by doing it that way, I was making it so much harder on myself. I might as well have not gone live because I wasn't attracting my target audience. I wasn't connecting with people in any way. I was basically just being Vanna White. Here's a thing. Do you want to buy it? Here's a thing. Do you want to buy it? Here's a thing. No one wants that. They don't, like we said, they don't come to social media to be sold to. You're going to burn out your warm market. And live video is such an excellent way to expand to your target audience, especially if you're using keywords that are very descriptive in your videos. And we talk about that frequently as well. So you have to give Facebook the information to let them know who will want to see your video and who's going to want to talk to you and interact with you. And then you can make that connection. So it is possible to start off successfully without going live, but you're going to make it a lot harder on yourself. And I'm all about making it easier and not harder.
It's true. I'm a fan of the easy button. Can we please press the easy button? Like, I don't know why I have this gigantic, you know, button that says making life difficult. Don't press that one. That's the bad one.
Right. I'm all about making it easier.
Like, I don't even know why I have that button. Like, why do I have that button? Exactly. So the, you know, going live will make it easier. But I think, you know, what you were talking about and what both of you mentioned was really that human beings crave, they crave connection, you know, and with our social, because we spend so much time behind a computer, we get a lot of text-based connection, but we're missing the eye contact. We're missing the sound of the voice. We are creatures who have way more than 5 senses, and we can sense things about people by looking at their eyes and the micro expressions. And by only, see, Michelle, I can totally tell right now, that's a look right there. That's Michelle.
If this don't say it, this will.
This will say it. And so I think what BeLive does, and one of the greatest things that I love most about BeLive, is it allows you, hello, Sarah, it allows you to create that connection and that intimacy with your audience that, and BeLive especially lets you do that because of the features. I'm going to dive into those in a few minutes, but the ability that we have for you to hear my voice, you hear the way that I'm talking, you see my inflections, it gives you an idea of whether you subconsciously like me or don't like me. And as we all know, in order for someone to buy from you as a direct seller or anything, they do need to know, like, and trust you. But in direct sales especially, there's a tendency to dive into the sale first and sort of like bypass the entire whole know, like, and trust, because there is a prevalent belief that the product will sell itself. Right? Because that's how when you first sign up with a direct sales company, that is often what you're told. The product will sell itself. Just get it in front of people.
And you know what? A lot of times it does. But
totally,
you have to remember that is a hyper growth issue, right? That's a gimmick, we like to say, right? It's something new that doesn't last forever. So then what do you have to stand on? When the newness wears off, then what are you standing on? And that's where we kind of talk about longevity. If you want to keep just going through companies or products and just hitting it hard when the money's there, cool, that's your strategy. I respect that. You do you. But when you are talking specifically about a business with longevity, that you don't want to be bouncing around, that you don't want to keep moving, then that's what we're talking about here, where you are specifically talking to your people, and your people, by watching you, know right away if you're someone that they want to interact with or not. It cuts to the chase fairly quickly.
I think the way to think about it, and as you were talking, Michelle, I was reminded of this, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring Duran Duran into this, is when you think back to MTV, right? How many of you guys remember MTV? I really want to hear it, like with anything, loves, hearts, anything that you want. Like, come on, MTV back in the day. I'm talking like 1981. Remember Video Killed the Radio? We're all here, right? We're all here with this. Okay, so when MTV first came out, in order to get, hello, Michelle, in order to get your video on TV, what did you have to do? You had a dark room, a bunch of people singing on a microphone. You had Billy Squire singing, My Kind of Lover or whatever, and bam, and then the video went up. It didn't have to be good. It didn't have to be anything. It could be them lip syncing badly. It did not. I want my MTV. Yes, honey, get me MTV. Right? That was the ad for Loverboy. Yes, I remember it because I actually still have the videos. But it's a conversation for another time. But then what happened? Duran Duran came. And they started making videos like nobody had ever seen before. Production value was through the roof. It was like cinema. It was like movies. They changed the landscape for MTV. Now, if anybody wanted to get attention, they all had to create things with that production value. When Facebook Live started, you didn't have to do anything. You could legitimately go live and just, make funny faces, kind of like on TikTok now, right? You can just go, have 15 seconds of whatever you want and people will watch. BeLive shows up and it gives you the ability to have a production studio. It lets you connect with people, have conversations with them. You can bring their comments on the screen. So while you're live with them, like we've been doing the whole time, right? I want my MTV, the little hearts from Melinda. Those things come up on screen and your audience, and this is how this works scientifically, gets a little dopamine hit because they see their name on the screen and they're all excited. For business owners to continue to remain competitive in an increasingly competitive landscape, we have to take advantage of the tools that are available to us, like BeLive. So I really want to, so as we start to dive into some more of the features of BeLive, I'm going to start with Jenna this time. Jenna, we're going to start with you this time. Jenna, I'd love to hear, like, when you think about BeLive for selling, what is your favorite feature and how do you like to use it?
Well, I am the least tech savvy of the trio here. I'm just going to admit that straight up. I'm not the technologically inclined one. I am not a graphic designer. I'm not fancy in that way. I'm fancy in a lot of ways. I'm very extra, but I'm not fancy technologically wise or graphic design wise. And, I haven't made myself a beautiful border or done anything cool like that. But what I do love about BeLive is that I can use it, guys. And it's literally just the easiest thing that you click a button and you do it. And, even my 300-year-old MacBook here, I got a $5 new webcam. So, because I dropped it too many times and the thing didn't work. I actually went live and showed my setup to my private group just right before we went live, and they saw what a disaster show it is. So, but this looks professional and legitimate and, pretty awesome, right? So that's my main thing, is that it's just super easy and that you don't need to be a technological genius to do it. But I really do love using the polls. I love using I pulled my own glitter, Melinda. But the polls is probably one of my favorite things. I also really love the scheduling feature and being able to get that reminder, because I know Facebook notifications, people are always like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be live. And this was one of my biggest struggles when I was in direct sales and selling. I was never able to physically commit to a consistent day and time all the time. I have multiple sclerosis, so my fatigue and my cognitive function and my days kind of vary on how well I'm feeling. But the great thing about using BeLive, and of course, I wish I had it back in the day when I first started, is that you can schedule a live to go, say tomorrow at 2:00, because I feel like I'll feel good then, and people can click to get a reminder. They can also see a preview of what you're going to talk about. You can make a graphic to put there, and that reminder will then make sure that your audience is on with you and that they know where you're going to be and when you're going to be live. And then they get that reminder, whether Facebook's being weird or not, whether they've turned on their notifications. So I think that is like a magical thing. Even if you're going live every single time at the same week, people need a reminder, because they can't remember their own schedule, let alone your schedule, unless you're some kind of superhuman, which, call me if you are.
Well, since you said superhuman, I'm gonna come on in here on my cue.
There's that humor.
Every single thing that Jenna said, I also agree with. And I use BeLive a lot in private training groups. So when I'm teaching workshops, it's so easy to do a split screen. It's so easy to bring people, interviews. You really have now a full production model live broadcast with such ease. I love the fact that it's not super difficult. Obviously, I am somewhat tech savvy, but I don't have a lot of time to sit and learn things all the time. So it's easy when it's just right in your face. It's so easy. Push button, follow the directions. I don't have to go take a course. I don't have to read the help section. I don't have to watch tutorials. It's really that easy. And so for me, it is the ease of it, and then the multi-functions. You really can do as much as you can go and elevate it even further. So it's perfect for the person just starting out, and it's perfect for the person who's been doing broadcasting for such a long time, because it really has such heavy customization that you can take it to any level you want.
I want to say hello to some new people who joined us here with Jen Newcomb. Hello. Lisa Lyon, good to see you. 100%, Michelle, the customization and the ability to turn it into whatever you want is critical. And I actually am going to jump in with my, one of the things that I love the most is actually leads us into the next question. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions at all about direct sales and BeLive or going live, feel free to toss those in the comments. We will answer them. We have a bunch of questions. I have a bunch of questions, but we all do, that we can ask and talk about. But I really want to make sure that we're giving you the information that you want. So do feel free to give us whatever questions that you want, and we'll help you out. But in terms of customization, for me, and Michelle and Jenna, we're all really, really into our branding. We love our branding. I'm obsessed with my branding so much. I really
coffee mug right now.
There's your coffee mug. You made the mug? That's awesome. I love it. I only have my cute little business cards. I have my cute little business cards. And then Michelle's entire life is her branding. That's how good Michelle is at branding. It's her life. She's wearing it right now. So my branding is very comic booky. So that's my branding, right? And so I really want that to be reflected everywhere in my lives, on my, Debbie Ott says you can share your screen and do a word game with your audience. The functions are limitless, 100%. Totally. And so for me, I want to make sure that my branding is up there. I have really cool overlays that I put on there to separate myself from other coaches or other people who are doing the same thing. As direct sellers, Michelle, because you're a branding expert, I'd love to hear from you. What the problems that direct sellers run into in terms of branding? Can you elaborate a little bit on that and how BeLive helps to overcome some of those almost generic looks that we start to see in direct sales?
I think that when we start out in direct sales, a lot of people are drawn to it because of the ease of it, right? They have they have a back office, they have your CRM, so that's your accounting, they do your marketing for you, they do the buying, everything that is hard. Maybe for a business owner, they have it covered. And so people lean into that very heavily. But what they are forgetting is that the main goal of a direct sales company is to make their name their brand a household name, their company name, not necessarily yours. It's your job to make your name a household name, to become the one that the that your customers are loyal to. It's great that they have a brand loyalty to the company you represent, but you probably want return customers, and you probably want them to be loyal to you. And in order for them to remember that you are their Tupperware girl, that you're their Mary Kay girl, that you want to make sure that you're branding yourself and you're setting yourself apart from the 50,000 other people that also represent your product. You know, this obviously is very specific to the direct seller, but even if we talk about independent boutiques, independent stores that sell the same thing, everyone gets things from wholesalers. Even if you talk about things you create, people who create the glitter mugs or the tumblers or signs, anyone can, people have the choice. Commerce is huge, obviously, and internet selling is huge. So what are you going to do? How are you going to connect with your target audience to set you apart from all the other people that sell exactly what you sell? Yes, customer service is a huge part of that, right? Having great customer service. But we also need to remember that the way you speak, the way you interact, the way you communicate, your branding, that all represents you, and that attracts a certain type of person, which most likely our target audience are people who are very similar to us, to either where we are now or where we have been in our previous life, right? Because we are now the expert in whatever we are selling, whether it be a product, a service, whether you connect on a level of being a parent, being a grandmother. We all have connections, and your experience alone has made you an expert. And people now, you want people to come to you when they have money to spend and when they don't have money to spend. That's relationship marketing, is you want them to come visit your spaces when you have money and when you don't have money. So you are their go-to person. You have created a connection with them. They trust you. They look to you to see what you're interested in, what you have to say. And I think that is why it's so important for every single direct seller, small business owner to brand themselves, and not just the product they're representing, not just the company. If you're a direct seller that you're representing, you want to make sure that you're putting yourself above all, because it's your job and only your job alone to get to have a loyal fan base. Your company is not there to do that for you. That's where you have to step in and take control of that.
And BeLive,
Bradley bomb right there.
Totally, Bradley, totally, 100%. Michelle is known for her Bradley bombs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, BeLive, and I'm going to jump in with you for a second, Jenna. BeLive lets you do that because of the customization options. You can pick your colors, you can pick your branding, you can pick a whole lot of customization that lets people know immediately that it's you. So now if someone tunes into Michelle's live, they're going to know that that's Michelle. Even if Michelle's not sitting at the desk, they'll know that it's Michelle. Same thing for me, same thing for Jenna. So Michelle suddenly disappeared. So being able to really hone in on your own brand is important. But Jenna, let's talk a little bit about lives, because something that you taught me how to do this. So, and that's why I wanted you to talk about it. You totally did. You're the one that talked about it. Janet Smith says, that is good, Michelle. Thank you so much, Janet. That was Michelle is full of nuggets.
Hashtag right there.
So Jenna, Jenna, if you may have noticed that Jenna has a couple of times already said that, we teach about this in the squad, in Direct to Success. So she's mentioned these groups and the friends on our phone. We mention our businesses verbally. So Jenna, so remember when we first started, I never mentioned anything verbally. Can you talk a little bit about reinforcing marketing through language by doing things like that?
Absolutely. So like I said, I come from old school marketing background, advertising agency, corporate America. Before the internet marketing, social media was really a thing, we called it new media, right? Minessa, remember that?
Back in the day. I have my degree in new media, from 100 years ago.
I only have a degree in marketing because new media wasn't even an option. So, but the basis of it is the same, is that people need to be reminded. They need to see and connect with you and hear from you a multitude of times. They need to be constantly and consistently reminded, which is where branding comes in, because you're visually reminding them. Like every time I see pop art pop up, I think of Minessa. If I see this black and gold and white with Bradley, if someone sees a pink unicorn or a dandelion, hopefully they're thinking of me.
Unicorns always think of you, dude. Every single time I see a unicorn, I think of Jenna.
I mean, it's an object association. It's not even in my specific branding, although it is on the other side of my cup here. It's on the other side of my cup, my unicorn. But people need to be consistently reminded, and you can talk about your business. You can talk about the fact that you have a business, or that you have a premium coaching group, right? That you have a podcast, that you're doing these things without selling them. I'm not, this isn't a sales pitch for you to join the Social Strategy Squad, but this is a part of my life, right? It's a part of what we do every day. So including that in your regular lives where you're not selling anything, and say you're sipping the coffee that you sell, and you're talking about like the new pumpkin spice, and you're like, oh my gosh, are you pumpkin spice or team apple pie, right? Like, and you just have a whole conversation about how you went apple picking and did something funny or whatever. But you can have conversations that are related to your business while reminding your customers what you sell and what you do and what you have available, without talking and selling that product while you're live. You can have that discussion. We just lost Minessa, but that's fine because I could talk forever, and so can Bradley. But you have to verbally remind them, as in addition to the visual reminder, which is great. That's another great thing about the BeLive, is that you can add, like, we have our little names here. You can show the comments. You can, we have our hashtag of like Squid Army. When people are saying that, you can share that as a comment. So again, it's a visual reminder, and then it's the verbal reminder, because remember, people learn in different ways. I'm a very verbal learner. I like audiobooks. I'm very visual in remembering faces over names and text. Text is harder on me, especially now. But it's very important to keep in mind that it's okay to talk about what it is that you do. People don't keep that top of mind. You can talk about it without actually selling it. You can remind them, you can mention it. It's okay for it to be part of your life, without it being the entire topic of, you have to have other things going on. You have to have hobbies and things that you can discuss. Hey, Minessa.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
Yes, I'm very excited to be back. Thank you. Sorry.
I just wanted all the attention on you, didn't you?
I did. That's how I get attention. I drop, and then I'm like, oh, you have to add me back so that everybody notices, and then everyone's looking at me.
Right.
So that's how that works.
Like you were waving your flag.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, please, no, it's fine. You don't need to pay attention to me. It's fine.
Yeah. Because going on what Jenna said, I think it's important for everyone to understand that, going back to what we were first talking about when we first started, to not be selling 24/7. There's so many ways to interact via video and be live with your audience on subjects that interest you and that tie you together, right? Everyone loves to be a part of something. You could have a book club. You can have a game night. You can have so many things. There are so many clever ideas that people are putting forth when it comes to video, and BeLive makes it so easy with screen sharing and bringing people on for interviews. The ease of it, but it helps you be more creative in your off selling times, right? Because so many people are like, all right, if I'm not selling, how am I making money? One, how am I, what am I supposed to be talking about? I have no idea what to be talking about. And really, you can come up with something as simple as, Sunday morning coffee talk about your week, how you're, the goals. You now start to make goal setting, or meal planning or meal prep. Bring any topic into your community and speak on a subject that you do and take for granted every single day or every week, because you're like, no one would be interested in that. But I can guarantee if you've did a Google search or even searched on Facebook or Pinterest or YouTube, that there are millions of videos that have to do with that subject. And so all you're doing is bringing those subject matters into your own community and communicating with them and allowing your audience to interact with you as well.
Exactly. I think people tell me all the time that their biggest hang up about going live is that they're boring. Number one, they have nothing to talk about.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you. I just got totally squirrely distracted, but that was a really nice comment. Thank you.
Totally. I thought, I was like, oh, Clayton, hey. And then the next comment, I'm like, oh, look.
I also want to address what Janet said, where she says, I have branded each of my 3 businesses, but not so much myself, other than providing a service to the same type of professional across 3 platforms. You know, that's okay too. Maybe Minessa can address this, because your sister Syra has an online boutique, and she also creates jewelry, and she is just kind of like a jack of all trades, skincare expert, boutique and owner. And she's kind of branded each individually, but she ties it all in together very nicely.
I think it's really, when you run more than one business, it can be very, very challenging, because your attentions get divided between each, and it gets tough to balance it. The way that I run Direct to Success is I have everything under the Direct to Success umbrella, but I do teach on some very specific things. So I have a mindset and mindfulness arm, I have a strategy arm, and an implementation arm, and where, depending on where you are, you're going to get different information, but it's all under that same umbrella. So, and I do that because I want people to know that it's me, because it helps to build my social proof and my social credibility. So the real key here is making sure that you're connecting the 3 so that people recognize that it's you, because one of the issues you're going to run into is that right now, you know, my personal my picture that I use in all of my social media is the exact same picture. So it doesn't matter whether you're on LinkedIn, you're on YouTube, you're on Instagram, whatever, you're going to see that same picture of me in a pink dress with my, you know, head half shaved. And I do that so that people know that it's me, no matter where they are. And my name is pretty unique, Minessa Konecky. Like, it's not like you're going to find, actually, you're not going to find any others. And I think there's like 12 Minessas in the world. So yes, I am a special snowflake. But incidentally, in case you were curious, here's some trivia for you. It's also the name of a thoroughbred horse and a toilet seat brand. So yay. So the more you know.
Wow, that's diverse.
I know, right? Like,
and here I was worried that when I got married, that Michelle Bradley sounded just like an Olympic swimmer or something, like so generic. Yeah, well, I'm not a toilet seat brand.
I'm not a toilet seat brand. There was a special model of toilet seat called Minessa.
I mean, so, I am a thoroughbred, but the other one, not so much.
But it's important for your consistency, for your audience to know where you are. So if you're in, you know, if they're on Instagram, you know, Janet Smith, they need to know that it's the same Janet Smith that they saw on Facebook who has this different product, unless you really want to keep them completely disparate, which is obviously a different ballgame. But you know, and I think that it's important to recognize that when we are direct sellers, and Janet, you didn't mention, I think you may have said earlier about the whether you're a direct seller or not, but for direct sellers especially, it's really challenging because they feel boring. And the reason why a lot of people feel boring is because they're bored. Right? They're bored. They're not doing anything outside of working and selling. And this is quite prevalent among business owners who are doing it on their own. So if you're doing everything on your own, your whole life is revolving around your business. So if you feel boring and aren't sure what to post, the best suggestion that I would have for you then is go out and try something new. It doesn't have to be something spectacular. Try a new drink. Try that weird unicorn drink that they have at Starbucks that I seriously am not getting anywhere near. No, don't try that. Yeah, no, I'm not trying pumpkin spice latte, but the other day I tried liver and I regret that I didn't film it because it was really disgusting. It was the texture I had trouble with. But, you know, I also tried, yeah, it was
I'm not eating organs. No.
Yeah, you know, it was there, and so I did try it. But, you know, I also tried, what did I try? I tried
apples.
I ate apples. I'd never had all the different types of apples. So I did an apple taste test, and I tried all the different types of apples, and I found a new apple that I loved. I played a board game with my husband. I don't really play board games anymore, and I had a really good time. So I'm trying a lot of new things. But when you try something new, share that with your audience using live. Or if you're going to try cooking a new recipe, there was somebody who put, and I actually opened it up and then my computer crashed. She posted a screenshot of her setup, and she basically has one camera over her setting. She does stenciling on t-shirts. So she has one camera over her stencil and then one looking right at her. And then she does a split screen on BeLive so you can see what she's working on and also her face so she can talk to you as well. And it's when you do it like that, suddenly now BeLive, it's like you're running a Food Network show. It's like you're watching Chopped, with a camera or Beat Bobby Flay. It gives you the ability to show people or give them an insight into a world they may not have seen otherwise. Oftentimes when you feel like you don't know what to say or you don't know what to do, that's when planning becomes really, really important. And that's when trying something new becomes important, because if you don't try anything new, you're not going to have anything to talk about. Nobody feels interesting walking around their dining room in circles all day, right? So even if I do something crazy like, oh, I'm going to take Talon to the sculpture park. Actually, he's really old. He wouldn't even walk halfway there. But I took my puppies to the sculpture park, right? I haven't been there before. Now suddenly I have a live video that I can do, right? And we can, with BeLive, you can try something new right at your house. You can do a puzzle, learn how to cross stitch, learn how to knit. All of those things are things that you can do on BeLive. You can do on a live and be entertaining. Earlier on, Raven was on and she was talking about coloring, and I'm watching her and all I can think to myself is, I can't wait to color. I've never felt that way before. I've never been like, oh man, I can't wait to color. But Raven's talking about coloring and I'm like, okay, going to her group, where do I sign up? I want this.
Because people want connection, right? Yeah. Like, and I think that it's important to understand that social media is a communication tool. It's not a connection tool until you create a community in which it can be, right? It's a communication tool. So when we're just opinion, right? If you're a keyboard killer and just writing whatever you want and commenting and whatever else, that's where the social media problems start. But when you're using tools like BeLive and you're using video and you're using relationship building and you're storytelling, then it does become a connection tool, because then there are people out there who may have felt like they're alone, who may feel like there was no one else that was running into that issue or had that problem. I mean, you guys remember when I was trying to trim Fiona's nails, and she's a savage and she wanted to attack me. And I could not write a funny post because you had to see the visuals of the mask and the tools. So I went live and told the story and said I would update it on my personal page. It wasn't even business, right? But especially if we're talking, of course, we're talking about direct sellers here, but what about the influencers? What about the people who are into affiliate marketing? You can do all of these videos and then you're sharing your links that you earn a little money from. There's so many different ways to approach video, and using BeLive makes it so easy. It's really just being a part of an audience as well. You guys have heard me say over and over again, right? You cannot expect an audience if you're not part of an audience. You can't just go through life thinking that you're so special that everyone needs to listen to you and watch you, and then you never spend the time to become part of somebody else's audience, right? So I think that goes hand in hand, and creativity sparks creativity. Go see how other people are using BeLive. Join if you haven't signed up, join a trial. Go join the group and see how other people are using it. Go do searches. Go watch YouTube videos. There's so many different ways to get inspired on how you can use it.
Oh, Debbie says, I love this. Debbie says, I watch people do weird stuff. Why do I think they wouldn't want to watch me? I'm very entertaining. Exactly.
Right.
So if you're watching it, other people will, there's an audience for everyone. There is an absolute audience.
I mean, we have a simple reason, right? Why do I think they wouldn't want to watch me? Well, because we're raised in a society where that becomes very self-serving, right? If we have any type of confidence at all, it's kind of, people like the idea of confident people until they run into one, and then they're like, wow, she's cocky. Oh, no, I am entertaining, right? Like, this is not a lie. So that's where it's our brain first telling us, it's our brain telling us this is a judgment. You've made the decision for everybody. You have made the decision for everybody if you're entertaining or not by not even trying.
And it's like sorry, go ahead, Minessa. I was just going to say that the reality is that not everyone's going to find it entertaining. And that's okay, you guys. Once we let go of that not everyone's going to like us, not everyone's going to connect with us, not everyone is not going to be your target audience. That's why we talk about target audience, because while your product might be perfect for literally everyone on the planet, you're just wasting your time and spinning your wheels if you're trying to sell to everyone on the planet. Your target audience has to be specific to you. That's why they shop with you, because they connect with you. So Melissa, if you're using data for internet, BeLive shouldn't be a problem. I generally use just data because my internet is terrible. So it's up to you. It's just a service through, as long as you have Facebook connectivity to go live, then you should be fine. Also, Cynthia asked a question earlier, if she was going live and someone was filming her, if they would be using BeLive, then I would say yes, absolutely. Or Colleen, sorry, it was Colleen. I got it close with the C name. I told you I'm terrible with the written names and things, but if you have your team member filming you because you need a wider frame, then yeah, absolutely, they can just be using BeLive. So you can set it up in a way that works for you, whether that's on your desktop or moving your screen or having someone else doing it for you. You can,
and it connects right to your social media. It connects right to your Facebook. So wherever if you're broadcasting to a specific page, but both of you are admins, it doesn't matter who's recording. If you're both connected, it depends on, you can make both people admins and then both will be broadcasting to that page. Or if you have it wide open and allow broadcasting, it doesn't matter. And I think that's where her question was going, like, how would it show up?
Melinda says the best thing I learned from Michelle is that they don't like me, they can just leave. Exactly. There you go, Michelle. I invite you.
We invite you to exit.
The three of us are a perfect example because we're all very different and we all like different things, but we all like each other. But look, I'm not necessarily. Thanks.
There was the expression. See, the micro expression that I was talking about earlier. She couldn't have done that if it wasn't alive.
Jenna was like,
Michelle will let you know if she is not a fan. One time I was wearing a shirt and she literally told me to take it off and donate it.
It's true.
But she said it in the way with her expression, and I saw her face to face in a way that I knew only Michelle could do with so much love.
Right. If I would have typed that, she would have been crying in the other room. But I was like, "Hey, you're not wearing that, are you?"
Yeah, she was like, "You're not going to."
I think it's time to donate that shirt. I think it's time to send that off to the secondhand shop.
Yeah.
Dave Richardson says, just have fun. I will tell you right now, I am just having fun. I am having the best time.
Like, because here's the thing, no matter what you're talking about, you are an expert. You know more, most likely, than the people you're speaking to. And if not, you can at least have a conversation about it, right? You have nothing to worry about. You're not over here talking about something that you don't know anything about. You are discussing something, especially if you're talking just about your own experiences. You're discussing what you're an expert at, and that's your experience with a certain situation, with a subject, with something you sell. And I think that takes a lot of the pressure off, because once again, if people don't find it useful, then they will disconnect. And then you will have to put in a marketing strategy and plan to get new customers. That's ultimately what target audience is continually speaking to the people that want to hear from you.
Exactly. And another great way about using BeLive is that you can share with those people when you're live and connecting with your new target audience. You can say, oh, hey, here's the link, and share it at the top of the screen to, join my email list, or connect with us in our Facebook group, or, listen to our podcast, whatever it is. When you're connecting with those new people, which is a part of your marketing strategy, right? And you can connect so much quicker. Like I said, you can build a business without going live, but you're making it a lot harder on yourself. You're going to have to create a lot more content. You're going to have to work a lot harder. And I mean, whatever your limitations are, we all have limited time in the day, for various reasons, whether it's chronic illness or crazy dogs to take care of, or ailing parents, or, hey, maybe you just want to watch a lot of Netflix. I'm not judging.
Oh, Megan!
Megan's here!
Hey, Megan!
Now it's a party.
I'm here.
I sent her. I hope it was the last document I sent her. That helped.
No, I had to go on my phone. I had to.
Oh, that's all right.
That's all right.
It's
Hey, we
working,
made it.
so
We made it. We
I'm
made it.
gonna go with
Welcome.
that.
Welcome, Megan. Okay,
But
so
I've been listening to you guys, and I've been dying to jump in because you guys are having such a fun conversation.
well, I'm glad you're here. So Megan Doyle is a team
Am I
leader.
still there?
Sorry. Oh, I thought you said something. And that's more books. She is very smart.
I can't hear you.
Oh, she can't hear me. She can't hear me, but you guys can. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, then so Megan is a team leader for Usborne Books, and she loves to read. And she is quite snarky and is a nonfiction junkie. I also just learned about her.
I don't know if you guys are still on. I cannot hear anything.
That she loves beets.
No.
So what I'm going to do is going to continue the conversation because she can't hear us.
I'm giving her directions.
Okay, so the next question I want to ask is, as we were talking about this, so Melinda and Brad, we love having you as members of the Squid Army, is to sort of move directions just a little bit, because one of the things that you were saying is that, the questions that we get a lot is about people who are afraid to go live. They're afraid because of whatever reason, Can you hear us now, Megan?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So people are afraid to go live. I'm going to sort of let you have a few seconds while I ask questions. So when somebody says that they're worried about going live, I'm going to just throw out some reasons why people don't like to go live. And I want to hear what your thoughts are on those reasons and sort of like ways to overcome it. Any one of you can take any one that you want. What if somebody says that they don't want to go live because they're worried that it's not going to look pro enough?
I understand that, because it irritates me to no end when my own connection stinks. So I get it. But you can't improve on something that you're not even trying. So if you don't have a starting point, how are you going to improve it? So if you don't go live and see what the issues are, then how can you improve it? You're just sitting there in doubt without even knowing the reality of the situation.
It's true. Getting into your own head and kind of giving yourself that imposter syndrome, I think, before you've even started and given it a chance. Because like I showed out here, I'll post the link for you, Debbie. I showed everyone in my private group before I went live here with you guys what a mess my office actually looks like, but how pro it looks when I just go live in this little square. And I've got like my little, I'm sitting in front of it right now, but I've got my little Halloween decorations going on and some glitter because, that's like my style, right? And I also love Halloween. But it doesn't have to be pro. It can be authentically you. Like if your authentic life is kids running around and the dogs are going to come in and want dinner and the mailman's here and, it's a little bit loud and a little bit messy, people are going to connect with you because of that, because their lives are similar to yours, because they are your target audience. That was the biggest mistake when I first started going live, is that I just stood in front of a blank wall and had blank expressions and showed some blank things and was like, here, hi.
That's a lot of blank.
It was boring. It was boring. And I'm not boring. I'm at least hilarious in that I'll drop something or, I get nervous that I'm going to mess up a word. Like I said, I have MS and my fatigue and my cognitive function messes me up. And I'm more worried about it than anyone else. No one notices. And even if I say, hey, what's that word? What's that word, guys? Someone will say it to me in the thing. And then I'll put it up on the screen. And I'll be like, oh, hey, thanks. Words are hard, And now it's just kind of a thing that we do. So the only way to do it is to kind of do that 1, 2, 3 mindset that Minessa talks about and start. You can only get better from your first one.
Megan, I actually wanted to turn it over to you really quick because you did a live party once. Do you remember that party that you did, the Hot Mama? Tell us about, like, that was all about being.
Oh, you don't even know the best of Megan's lives. Let me tell you.
Tell us about.
Megan has an alter ego that she graces her group with every once in a while.
You gonna bring your alter ego out here?
No.
Oh gosh, you don't want to meet Margie.
Margie.
Yeah, Margie. But yeah, I had actually was talking to Michelle about this. I do about 2 to 3 times a year a big mystery hostess party in my VIP group just for my members, and I like to make it fun. Like, I'm very snarky and very like sarcastic, and I love humor. It's like my first language. Like, if you can make me laugh, like that's my thing.
That's
So
why we're friends.
I like to make my group laugh. You know, we're all, most of us are moms of some sort with our aunts, grandmas, foster moms, and we're tired and we're keeping it real. Okay. So I did this party and I was going on to update them about prizes and happenings. And I said, Michelle, what if I went on as my alter ego, who is inspired by my late grandmother, rest in peace. Her name was Margaret. And I said, and go on as Margie. And Margie, don't mess around, okay? And so I was terrified. Terrified to do this because I never did this with my people, but they knew me. They had known me long enough that, you know, anything could happen. So I did. I was in a bathrobe, no makeup. I went full Margie, and I was very vulnerable. But I feel like when you're running a group, it requires you to display that vulnerability to them, to let them know that, like, I am real. I'm here to connect with you and maybe give you a good laugh. And so I did. I went in as Margie. And can I tell you, I got messages for weeks saying how funny it was, how they loved it, how they had a horrible day. And that just like made it like they laughed so hard. And it actually increased my sales too. I had sales come in that night. And I want to kind of owe it to give credit to Margie. Like, she really pulled through on that one.
I don't even have kids, but when I saw Margie coming up, I was dying laughing, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy some books for my nieces and nephews. Like, it was just like a second thought. It wasn't even my primary thought, but Margie connected with me, and I'm like auntie and hilarious, and you know, like I had like a Jewish grandma that was pretty hilarious as well. So you know, like it really, I just loved it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy some books for Christmas. It was like, I don't even know where those books are right now, but like.
I bought a book too, and I don't have any kids or anything. I was just like, I want to buy a book.
Right? I mean, that's some serious authenticity, and you know, it was hilarious and just a great time. That is how you show your personality, and that's why, like, if I need a book in the future, I'm going to get it from Megan because I like Megan, not because I can't get it from 500 other places. But honestly, I mean, I had met you in person prior, but if you hadn't gone live and done that Margie skit, so to speak, it wouldn't ever have dawned on me to buy a book that day.
Yeah, I mean, my anxiety, I have a lot of anxiety. And after I did Margie, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, you overthink. Mm-hmm. But really, everyone loved it. And I even had a guest or a customer be like, do you think you could do a party for me as Margie? Like, I mean, Margie on tour, I guess. But really, I mean, you had to be brave to do it, but it worked out. So when it comes to being worried about, is it professional enough? Is this something other people are doing? I always go, you know, my mother always said, go with your gut. And I had to go with my gut that night and felt like, I think Margie's got to come out.
And Sebastian makes a really good point. It's about the authenticity makes the connection so that they enjoy your presence. And ultimately that's the goal, right? Sebastian, that is like absolutely fantastic, because the thing to keep in mind, I think, for all of us, especially direct sellers, because of the way that we're trained at the home office and at the corporate events, is that live and BeLive and all of these things are just tools to help us build connections with people, not for us to push things on them and make them buy from us. Because my dad once said, and you know, my dad tends to sit back, and he's spent a lot of time in Tibet, Nepal, meditating. So he's you know, just imagine he's a older Pakistani gentleman, sort of like imagine that. And he sits back and he says, you know, you can't ever sell anything to anyone. It's not possible, because in order for someone to buy something from you, they have to give you a card and they have to perform the transaction. So they can only buy from you. You can only facilitate an environment where they want to purchase from you. That's it. That's all you can do. Everything else is on them. And, you know, when you really think about the fact that what we as human beings are craving is connection, at our basis level, we're craving connection and community, and that you have Live and BeLive as tools to help us build that connection and community. Dixie, it makes sense then that we want to use those tools to facilitate the environment of selling, which is what you did, Megan. So you created this party, you facilitated. Oh, why? Thank you, Sebastian. I heard you say it. I was like, dude, that is the coolest way to say a name ever. So that you're facilitating an environment of where people want to buy from you. So you didn't need to sell because everyone was, you created entertainment. And I think that's one of the problems that direct sellers especially have this issue. And even people who I think are new to Live, is that we feel like the only value that we have is the product that we sell or the service we sell. And if that's the only value, right? If we believe that in our head, that that's the only value, exactly, Clydine, that's a lot of pressure, which means that every time we go live, that's what we're going to go live for, because we don't believe that there's any value anywhere else. A lot of our live issues come from up here. They're in our mindset, right? And so that's why we struggle with going live. One of the questions, actually, I'd love to hear what any of you have to say about this. Actually, I'm curious about Megan for sure, but in general. So another reason why people don't like to go live, and Sebastian and Alicia talked about this earlier, is the trolls, right? Trolls. Now, for me, I played World of Warcraft for years. I ran a guild. I spent time in Barrens. If any of you ever played World of Warcraft and spent time in Barrens, you know exactly what I'm saying. If not, just think of the cesspool of humanity living in an online space. That's what the Barrens was. It was horrible. And in fact, if you Google Barrens chat, you'll find there are tons of things out there about it because it was so troll heavy. So for me, dealing with trolls is like, I don't even care. It's like, whatever. I will play in with them. I will joke with them. I will just keep going, which is why I feel like Megan could do that, because like, you're so snarky. I feel like you just be like, yeah, I'm going to give it back to you as well as I get. But not everybody spent their life in World of Warcraft. So for those of you who are not video gamers, how do you deal with the fear of trolls? And have you, when you've had somebody who, left mean comments or did something, that you felt was troll-ish, how do you handle that? And how would you recommend that somebody new deal with that?
I mean, I've never personally had a troll.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
She may have been one, but she never experienced one.
I think, but see, this is where I struggle, right? Because I am very sensitive, as snarky as I can be. I'm very like, oh, they hurt my feelings. I go through like 10 personalities to finally calm down. I go from, I'm from New York. I'm a social worker. Like, I can read you up and down. I've used all my qualities to finally get to the point where it's like, you cannot care, because those people, it's like their job. That's all they spend their time doing. And it has more to say about them than it has to do with you. Mm-hmm. It has more to do with what's going on internally and their world than what you're trying to do as far as your business, your goals, and trying to give service to your people. So in the end, it is a process. I still struggle. I'm not going to say I don't. But when not necessarily a troll, but when when someone doesn't like what I do, or, has a critical, and not constructive, but a criticism that was just kind of not their business or out of place or more personal than business, I do struggle. But I do have to remind myself that there are people that are just miserable and are looking to bring you down. You have to remind yourself why you're doing it, and that you have a whole tribe of people that love what you do and how you do it. And that's when you really have to rely on your tribe and your people that are in your group, supporting you, believing in you and your voice and what you have to add. You kind of have to not let that one troll, affect the group of thousands of people you have that are rooting you on and believe in what you offer.
I love that response so much. We have a lot of, so Colleen, Delucia, they block trolls. Melinda, ignoring blocks. Sebastian says, shut up trolls, move right past them, 100%, dude. Just move right past them, ignore them. I get a kick out of, get a kick out of playing along, but that's not for everybody. Brad says, show them the magic trap door and let them fall through. The thing to keep in mind about trolls is that they actually sound more intimidating than they are. There's not as many as you would think. And, if you are live long enough, eventually you're going to run into a troll. But I think, Megan, what you said was the critical piece there, is that this is a group of your people. This is your house, and your community is going to be there around you. And they're not going to suddenly be like, oh, she had a troll on her page, I'm never buying from her again. In fact, the way you handle it is going to bring more action. Sebastian, yes, he said he wants us on his show. I want to be on your show. Do you want to be on his show? Yes, all of us want to be on his show, right? Yes. Now I just got all like, I'm all like, oh my God, look at me.
I'll take it.
I know, right? I'm like, what was I saying? Was I talking?
Yeah, no, you weren't. I think the most important part is this: you cannot grow like I said before, you can't grow if you don't start. How do you know how you're going to react to trolls if you've never encountered one? How do you know how your community is going to act to a troll if you've never had one, right? Because you've never gone live. The answer to everything is action. You have to take action to know how you're going to deal with it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing people ask a lot is, should we go live in our group or on our business page? That's one of the biggest questions that I get. And I think it goes back to what you just said, Michelle, is that, you have your people, you have your core group, but if you want to grow, you need to go live on your business page because that's your public platform. If you need to start in your group or do a short live in your group and, have a different conversations there, do it. But the great thing about BeLive is that, of course, you can go live on your business page and share it into your group, and people are, wherever they're watching, they can connect with you. But if you don't take that action and start connecting with your target audience, finding your people, building your marketing plan, then you're not going anywhere.
And let me add that, I've never been trolled, but I have witnessed people trolling people that I support in business. And let me tell you, that tribe, their people will rally. There will be chaos in the streets because they don't hesitate to grab the signs, get the sticks, and go after the troll. They really will support you. And it's really kind of cool to see or even be a part of, because if anything, I would think if I was being trolled and I saw those people rising up to defend me and, invite the troll to exit, and it's a polite way of putting it, I would say, what a confidence boost to know that, you're doing right because those people felt, so strongly about supporting you that they were willing to defend you against that one troll. So a different way of looking at it.
Totally. I love that. I do want to make sure that since we're sort of starting to wrap up now, I want to make sure that that if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them. We are here. I think we probably got another 7 or 8 minutes before Leslie is going to join us again. So if you have any questions about being a direct seller, BeLive, live, any of those things, feel free to ask them and we will answer. All right, so let's see. What do I have in terms of questions? Okay, so I'd love to hear this from any of you. What are some of the mistakes? Name one mistake that you made in a live, like something that you've done where you thought it was embarrassing or whatever. And I will I'm going to own mine right now. And seriously, this doesn't seem like such a big deal right now, but in the moment, it was super embarrassing. I can't remember what I was talking about. I was on a live. It was on my business page, and I was super proud of this live because I thought, I'm going to be able to repurpose this for a lot of different things. I was wicked excited. And while I'm talking, suddenly I let out this the loudest burp I've ever heard in my entire life. And I was just like, huh. And I'm all professional. And then, you know what? I was and I thought to myself, this is embarrassing. And then I was kind of you know what? I was forget this. And I started to make a huge joke about it. I said, you know what? I was just so excited that's how I punctuate when I'm excited. So just expect to see a lot more of those now. And it worked. Everybody laughed and giggled. And most people said they were really excited to see that I was human, right? That I that I burp on camera just like everybody else. Something to keep in mind is you're going to have these missteps. Like Michelle said, unless you do, you're never going to know what these missteps are. and you might surprise yourself with your ability to bounce back and make a joke out of something that you thought that if it happened, you would be mortified. You know, like, you know, the dog, Sebastian was saying earlier about his dogs being on the floor. He's like, they're going to start barking. If they start barking, just bring them on. You know, like
I've had to leave the live to go take care of my bulldog, who's no longer with us. But there were times, and my community knew to yell Lavender, because Lavender would calm my dog down. And so I'd be like, oh my gosh, Fiona, stop. And then they're like, yell Lavender. And I'm like, oh yeah, Lavender, Fiona, Lavender. And she'd walk away. So this is part of being human, and this is how we inspire people who would never think about doing what we're doing to do it. Is because you're being yourself, you're making a mistake, you're rolling with the punches.
I'm loving these. I just want to say what these are. Okay, so wait, we've got Brad Littlejohn. My kids walked in half naked and threw a pair of rolled up leggings at the camera while I was live, which I wish I'd watched that live. Sebastian says, my camera and keyboard fell during the show. It sounded like gunshots, which everybody's like, oh my gosh.
I would have played up on that. I'm just north of Detroit. I would have hit the deck.
I would have been like, dude, you hit the deck for that kind of thing.
Dang, they're wearing red. Like, it must have been the opposing gang. Yeah, I mean, that there's definitely people, that is entertainment. So even when, especially for the people that don't think they're entertaining, right? Comedy crosses all genders, classes, nations. Comedy always fixes everything.
It's the universal language.
Yeah. You know, Megan and I are on the opposite spectrum of many, our opinions are on the opposite spectrum of many, many things, but we always come together when it comes to comedy. We always come together when it comes to laughter. And that is why we have become friends. We don't, you know, and it's from meeting each other online through video. We got to know each other. And I think the one time, I believe I introduced myself because I might have teased her about the way she looked on camera. They're obviously reading the comments because it's not me they're laughing at this time.
I mean, that was funny, but Sebastian is killing me right now. I mean, I'm wearing sweatpants under, but you
no, I got my pajama pants on right now.
I mean, like, these are purple velvet velour. Like, I had a whole engagement conversation about how
that is, but that's funny. Like, those missteps though, seriously, like, if you read these comments, the missteps are hilarious. And I would have wanted to be on every one of those lives.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I'm like, every single one of these, I'm like, why wasn't I on it? Now I need everybody's link so I can go watch their lives. Oh, Melinda says it's almost always your yippy dog. My dog is home, so he's going to start being very loud because he's very old, and I'm supposed to give him all my attention all the time, no matter what. Just in case anybody is curious.
Dramatic little dog already. He just came in, yelled, and left.
Every live is different. You never know what might happen, 100%. And that's, I think, the beauty of live. That's why people watch it. Exactly, Jay. It's live. Jay, I love your profile photo. Love it. It's like soup's awesome. That's why people watch live, is for the unexpected. Don't forget, by the way, guys, comment LiveCon to be entered to win 3 years of BeLive streaming for free. Guys, do not forget to comment on that. Speaking of which, just before we sort of start to wrap up, look at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. For any of you who are direct sellers, this is prime real estate for you to give your audience instructions. If you want them to comment on something when they come in, if you want them to share your broadcast with somebody, that is not something that Facebook doesn't really see that. So that's a really good space for you to put things like that, because if you're a if you have an established community and you go live a lot and you have a lot of engagement, you're usually going to be okay with the comment and the share language. But if you tend to be a direct seller who doesn't get a lot of engagement or reach, then using words like comment or share or whatever in your text and talking about it is going to cause you a little bit of problem. So this gives you a perfect opportunity to instruct your audience to do something that you want them to do without actually interfering with your broadcast. Wouldn't it be awesome to have 3 years free? That is epic. Then to hit type in a LiveCon, comment LiveCon.
Yeah, such an awesome prize. And remember, in terms of marketing, people need to be reminded how they can connect with you, how they can do what they need to do if they jump on late or if they're, just tuning in. This little streamer thing and the way to put the comments up here, and they know that they're on LiveCon right now because the way that it's branded, it's genius. People instantly connect with it.
It lets people know where you are and what you're doing. So I think sort of as we start to, there we go. It's starting already. There's phones.
Chaos. We got people coming in the door. We got dogs barking. This is the life, right? This is the life of a home broadcaster, a direct seller, a business owner, a side hustle. This is the life. People don't mind this. Now, if it gets out of control and nothing's getting, we're hindering progress. Yes, I would understand how people would start leaving. But I wouldn't stress about the little things. Don't stress about the little things.
100%. I muted it because dog situation. And he's walking around. Okay, so one of the last things that I wanted to share with you about, and before we sort of wrap up, is a feature which I realized we should have brought up sooner, but I got so excited about so many of the comments. It's like what Alicia and Sebastian were saying earlier. When the comments come, sometimes you just get really wrapped up, and we all started having a conversation. Was one great feature for you that you may not know is that BeLive has added a shopping feature. So now you can actually upload all of the products you're going to use on a live sale in advance with the prices. And you can also have instructions for how to check out on your little ticker with your overlay, giving you the ability to have a complete like home shopping network look from your basement, from your living room, wherever it is that your office is set up. It is positioning itself in a space that many people are not, because not many companies cater specifically to the needs of direct sellers, right? We're not at the top of a lot of people's, unless you're in a direct sales industry. It's not something, most of the time they're making tools for the general public. This is something that is so unique to BeLive. So if you're a direct seller, it's something that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, is this ability to integrate your selling with the production studio as well, so that you can, and this is where it gets really fun, you can plan your entire live in advance all the way up to exactly what you're going to show. You can have details in your image and the cost of it in your image. I know this sounds, this dog is making her crazy, in order to facilitate a more user-friendly shopping experience. Yeah, Shelly, it's super easy to set up. There's a button on the left-hand side. There's actually a video. I actually have a video training for, and I believe Steve Healy does as well, where it shows you how to add a product and show it while you're live. And there's some video with samples of it that Sarah Swanson has done.
It's really, what's interesting to me is they're really putting themselves in a place where, especially with the offline recording, they're proving themselves to be taking the place of multiple programs and apps and putting them into one that really allows the person who is doing business from home to be able to alleviate some of those extra costs, where, you now can do entire selling broadcast. You can record without being online. So now it's a video recorder. It's great for podcasts. I mean, the uses are huge. And I think that they're being so smart about the things that they are coming out with. And needless to say, they're very receptive. They listen, they read what people want. They listen to issues. And I think that being still a company that interacts like that with their audience, they are living the type of business that we teach, and that is relationship based, and that's what they're focused on. And you don't get that very much out of a streaming service.
Totally. And that is a Bradley bomb to end this, if ever I heard one. So first, I just want to thank you guys. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, BeLive.